and Kirill, good to
morning.
see you. Excellent. Welcome to What Have I Just Read with Nadia, Mike, and the jingle. And it's great to be back. We're managing to do this about once a week due to our various timetables, but it's lovely that we can do it once a week, and it's great to be back. And we've read it's first day of Lent today.
So we have special readings. Different from yesterday and different from the ones we have tomorrow. So
it's great. It's our first reading is Daniel 9. What did you make of that?
Yeah, we were just trying to remember what had happened to Daniel before this, because this is towards the end of his book. Here we have this beautiful prayer, Daniel's prayer for the people. But before that, lots of things happened to him. Yeah, so we were.
That's right. He's already done the fire thing, hasn't he? And then it was like we were going, didn't he do a lion thing? It's like he did both. Yeah. And it's like, shouldn't we know that? It's just like all those things. You sort of feel like you know them, but when you sit down and try and actually remember the specifics, it all gets very hazy. It's a beautiful prayer, that, isn't it?
It's very beautiful.
He's making his confession, isn't he? Yeah. He says, Lord, great and awesome God, keeping covenant and steadfast love with those who love you and keep your commandments. We have sinned and done wrong, acted wickedly and rebelled, turning aside from your commandments and ordinances. It's beautiful, isn't it? And it's a perfect prayer for the sort of start of Lent.
Yeah. And also I think there was one sentence that I particularly liked, so I think it's a very good reminder of the attitude we should have.
Great.
So it was, we do not present our supplication before you on the ground of our righteousness, but on the ground of your great mercy.
Yes, that's great.
Sometimes we feel inclined to think that, we're so good, so that's why. So this Pharisee-like attitude, but here it reminds us that this is because of God's love for us that we receive all this, and not because we act better than other people. And
yeah, it's great. It's lovely, that, isn't it? It's not because of our righteousness, but because of your great mercies. In fact, I like the next line as well. It says, "O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, listen and act, and do not delay." I do like that idea of you've got to get on with it. Don't.
Yeah, we can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no time to dilly dally. You've got to get on with it. I don't know. I'm like one of the world's worst procrastinators. So when I see that, do not delay. It's like, yes, just get on with it. Don't find a reason to get distracted or go and watch another series on Netflix. It's like, get on with it. But it's so true, because the time is crucial, and there isn't really enough of it. So that's great. Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it? Daniel. I feel we need to we've just done a fantastic reading of Jacob's life, literally from all the way through. Yeah, Jonah, which is great. And it was like put all the bits together in a way I've never really understood his life before, going through, the whole kind of exile, and then the kind of the whole thing with Laban, and Leah and Rachel, and how he ends up with huge amounts of wealth and 12 kids, and then came back to Esau, and it's just really interesting. I think we need to do a Daniel kind of from beginning to end. It would be useful. And then we're off to Timothy.
Yeah.
So these are letters from Paul, right?
So there are two letters to Timothy, and
right.
This is one of them.
And this is all kind of information, advice, help for these communities, right?
Yeah. So what I've found. So I think you've been recently reading from these two letters, from the first letter to Timothy and the second.
That's right.
And also, we read some bits from the letter to Titus,
which is great. Yeah.
Apparently, those three letters are they are sometimes regarded, viewed together.
Oh, okay.
So
that's interesting. So the Titus and
those two letters
Timothy.
To Timothy. Yeah. So they're so-called pastoral letters.
Oh, okay.
Because they all deal with how to deal with similar things.
It's interesting, and it's been quite good lists actually. There was one of the readings, which was a Tuesday, I think. It was a great list, or was it the end of last week? A great list of sort of attributes that each person in the community needed to kind of show and treasure and work on, which I thought was rather good.
And also we had a list of qualities that priests should possess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it was really good.
Yeah.
And this actually really, because he talks about, for the love of money is the root of
Yeah.
all kinds of evil, which I guess that's the source of that famous quote: "The love of
Yeah.
money is the root of all evil." And in their eagerness to be rich, some have wandered away from the faith. It's interesting. I'm reading an interesting book called Callings, which is, it's all about different people through the centuries and how they've been called to ministry. And actually it's fascinating because it works in very different ways in different eras of sort of the church history. And there's a very interesting introduction by the kind of the person that puts all this together. And he'd spent a long time in Hollywood as a priest, and in Beverly Hills and around that area. And he's really interesting about his observations. He says, I am pastor to some of the greatest stars, people who appear in the daily press, on the news, who are movers and shakers, whose opinions are always sought after by news outlets and everyone. And he says, and yet, more than any other community, have I found people who are so deeply unsatisfied and feeling unfulfilled, and it's amazing actually. He's sort of he's very discreet, obviously, but he says he's just amazed how so many people feel a great emptiness and sort of meaningless in their lives, which is really interesting.
Yeah, because that's what many people notice. So that if you're attracted only to those riches, material riches, so you can never get enough, so the more you get, the more you want.
It's so
and then
true.
You compare yourself to people who are all there's always somebody who has more things.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses.
And then so and you can never be at peace with yourself. But here, that's a very good reminder here that even if you are rich, which is fine, but so you should remember that there's something more important than this. And if you are rich, that you should be able to share and to remember that. I like the last line actually here. So the treasure of a good store up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of the life that really is life. So
Right, that's true. I like that. That last message, the life that really is life.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a sentence sort of before that as well. It says, put their hopes on a God who richly provides us with everything. Provides us with everything for our God. But I do think I think we have to be a little bit careful sometimes about always attacking rich people, because actually there are a lot of people
Definitely.
who use their riches in a very, very good way. And actually I think there's a line here that says it nicely. It says they are to do good, to be rich in good works. So I think there are rich people who, because of their position, their opportunity and their resources, actually end up becoming rich in good works, and they're generous and ready to share. And I think that's an important part, and that not to forget that. Sometimes actually rich people do a lot of great stuff.
So it's not the main criterion, and I think that's a great thing about this letter. So it doesn't attack rich people. It doesn't say
exactly.
It just says what it gives in this last paragraph. It gives advice to rich people. So what
exactly? This is the difference between the love of money, but being rich in good works, and it's sort of quite it's interesting and different. Yeah. Lots to think about. Anyway.
And I also found this is just a curious thing that I noticed so you mentioned that it's Valentine's Day today, as well as the beginning of Lent, and I thought that there were particularly many times that the word love was repeated in all the readings, and in the canticle, and then the responsory after the readings. So it's just great. So it speaks about God's love for us, and
yeah, it's great. It's actually quite good. It's kind of almost appropriate on the same day. Excellent. Okay, very good. I think we've been going for almost 10 minutes. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and actually 2 people are watching us, which is amazing. I think Kirill, I guess you're one of them because we saw something from you. So thank you, Kirill, for supporting us. And have a great Ash Wednesday. A nice service in the church today. I think it's 7:30, which will be kind of special. So come to that if you can. And a wonderful Valentine's, happy Valentine's, and to you all. and Ash Wednesday.
Thank you.
Right,
See
bye.
you. Bye.
3 people. Look, 3.
Oh, that's
Wow.
good.